the babysitter's window. I was just trying to make some extra money. College isn't cheap, and babysitting felt safer than bartending or selling handmade earrings online. So, when my psych professor's sister asked if I could watch her kid for a night, $80 cash, quiet suburb, kid already asleep. I said yes before she finished the sentence. The house was nice. A little too quiet, maybe. But nothing I hadn't seen before in the countless other homes I'd babysat in. The boy Max was 5. He was already asleep when I got there, tucked in tight, like someone had wrapped him with military precision. The mom, Julia I think, gave me the tour, showed me the snacks, the remote, the Wi-Fi. Everything felt normal. At first. The living room was small but cozy. Dim floor lamp, a TV that took forever to load streaming apps, and thick, heavy curtains over a single window facing the backyard. I only noticed it because I heard something. Not a knock, not even a sound exactly. Just pressure, like something shifted in the air near the window. You know that feeling when you think someone's behind you but no one's there? Yeah, that. I turned around. The curtain was still drawn shut, the fabric barely moving like it caught a whisper of wind. Which was weird, because the window wasn't open. I shrugged it off, kept watching TV, kept pretending I wasn't checking the curtain every 5 minutes. An hour passed. Then I saw it. Just a flash, so fast I almost didn't catch it. But something moved behind the curtain. A shape, a shadow. I muted the TV, held my breath, waited. Nothing. No footsteps, no knock, no sound at all. So, like any rational adult, I tiptoed over and yanked the curtain back. There was a window, all right, a wide one. Just glass and darkness, and a dim reflection of me blinking stupidly into the glass. No one outside, no animals, no wind. But the feeling stayed. That tight, invisible pressure. The knowing. Someone was watching. I closed the curtain again, this time pulling it tighter, tried tying the edges together with a hair tie. It didn't help. The feeling didn't go away. I texted my roommate. Something casual, like, "Hey, you ever feel like you're being watched while babysitting?" She sent back the emoji with big eyes and said, "You okay?" I didn't reply. About 20 minutes later, I swear I heard breathing. Not mine, not Max's. Heavy. Slow. Wet. I froze. The sound was faint, muffled, like it came from inside the wall. Or maybe the window? I stood up and crept toward the curtain again. I don't even know why. Curiosity? Stupidity. I didn't pull it back this time. Just leaned in. Close enough to hear better. It stopped. But I saw it. A sliver of pale skin. Just barely visible in the tiny gap where this curtain didn't quite meet the wall. An eye, looking back at me. Wide. Unblinking. Too close. I stumbled back so hard I knocked over the floor lamp. The room went dark. I scrambled for my phone, turned on the flashlight, and when I pointed it at the window, nothing. The curtain swayed gently, but no face, no eye, just my own reflection, shaky and pale. I turned on every light in the house. When Julia came home around midnight, I tried to sound casual. "Hey, by the way, there was, some weird stuff with the window tonight." She looked confused. "What window? The one in the living room? The big one, facing the backyard?" She stared at me for a long second, then shook her head slowly. "There's no window in the living room." I laughed. "No, seriously. That big one with the heavy curtains?" She frowned. "You mean the painting? On the back wall?" We both walked into the room, and she was right. There was no curtain, no glass, no rod, just a wall, plain, smooth, painted over, no seam, no frame, no indication anything had ever been there. It was concrete. I stood there blinking, trying to make my brain work, but I saw it. She looked genuinely concerned. "Are you okay? Maybe you fell asleep?" I didn't argue, took the cash, walked home, didn't sleep. The next day, I got an email. No subject, no sender, just an attached photo. It was blurry, grainy, like it came from an old phone. It showed a window. The window. My face was on the other side, looking out. Same hoodie, same hair, same terrified eyes. Caption below it, "We see you now." Caller from the year before. I bought the phone at a flea market. $20. Old rotary style, cream-colored body, faded numbers on the dial. It didn't even have a plug compatible with anything modern, but it looked good, sitting on the little table by the window. Gave the living room a vintage touch. It wasn't supposed to work. The first time it rang, it was just after midnight. No caller ID, just that shrill mechanical ringing. I didn't even know it could do that. I stood there staring at it for a second, thinking maybe I was dreaming, or maybe someone was screwing with me. But no, it kept going. Reluctantly, I picked it up. "Hello?" The line hissed for a moment. Then a voice I hadn't heard in a year. "Hey!" My knees almost gave out. It was Lily, my girlfriend, who died last summer. Car accident. Raining too hard. Took the turn too fast. The guardrail didn't hold. But this voice, it wasn't a memory. It was real. Present. The way she said it. Soft, a little amused, like I just said something dumb. It was her. "Lily?" "Yeah," she said, like it was obvious. "You sound surprised?" I didn't know what to say. I thought about hanging up. I thought about throwing the whole damn phone out the window. "How are you calling me?" She paused. "That's not important. I just wanted to hear your voice." I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I pulled the phone apart. There was no SIM, no power source, nothing but old wires and dust. I even checked with a friend who does telecom stuff. He laughed when I told him, said there was no way it should work. That night, the phone rang again. Same time, same voice. She sounded clearer this time. Said she'd been thinking about me. Said she'd missed the way I used to hum while washing dishes. Little things. I wanted to believe it was a prank. A cruel, elaborate prank. But who would do that? Who could do that? By the fourth night, I stopped trying to make sense of it. She started talking about places. Remember the cabin by the lake? The one with the broken swing? Yeah. We'd gone there 2 summers ago. Spent the whole weekend fighting off mosquitoes and playing cards. I'd forgotten about it until she mentioned it. "You should go," she said. "I want to see you there." I didn't go. I should have. Maybe. But I was scared. Scared of what it meant. The calls kept coming. Some nights, she was playful. Others, quiet. Like she was far away. Once, she whispered, "It's lonely here." Another time, "I don't have much time." It started messing with my head. I'd wake up with her voice in my ears. I stopped seeing friends. Work became background noise. All I cared about was 12:03 a.m. when the phone would ring. One night, I asked the question I'd been avoiding. "Lily, where are you?" Silence, then, close. Another time she said, "There's water everywhere. It's cold, but it doesn't bother me anymore." I started having dreams, wet footprints on the floor, the smell of lake water, the creak of an old swing, always at the cabin. Last Saturday she said something different. "I'm coming to see you." I swallowed. "When?" "Soon. I'll be there when the clock strikes 1. Leave the door unlocked." I didn't plan on doing that. I told myself I'd stay with a friend, leave town, but I didn't. I stayed. At 12:59 a.m., the air in the room changed, thicker, heavier, like the atmosphere before a thunderstorm. The phone didn't ring, but the doorknob turned, slowly, quietly. I froze. Every instinct told me to run, but I couldn't. The door creaked open, and there she was, Lily. Same hoodie she wore the day of the accident, same jeans. Her hair hung damp over her shoulders. Her shoes left watery prints on the wooden floor. She didn't speak, she just looked at me. Her eyes weren't angry or sad, just tired. And then she smiled. It was the smile I fell in love with, the one she gave me the first time we danced in the kitchen. I stepped forward. I don't remember what happened after that, but I woke up on the floor, the phone in my hand. Dead silent. No dial tone, no power, nothing. Just water on the floor, leading back to the door, and the faint smell of lake water in the air. He's always been here. When I moved into the apartment, it was just supposed to be me and Drew. 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, slanted floors. The kind of place where the shower squeaks when someone opens the fridge. But it was cheap, and we were both tired of crashing on couches. Drew was easygoing. We split chores, bills, leftovers. It worked. One night, maybe 3 weeks in, we were sitting on the floor watching something on his laptop when he said, "The quiet guy hasn't been around much lately." I laughed. "What guy?" "You know," he said, looking genuinely puzzled. "The third guy. The one who always keeps to himself." I waited for the punchline. None came. "There's no third guy, Drew. It's just us." He stared at me for a moment, then blinked, laughed, and said, "Weird. Must have dreamed it or something." I thought he was joking, or maybe just tired. We went back to watching, but then I started noticing things. A third coffee mug in the sink, wet. A toothbrush in the holder, blue, not mine or Drew's. Shoes by the door, scuffed boots, wrong size. I asked Drew about it. "You sure that's not yours?" he said. "They're size 12. I wear 9. He shrugged. "I bought a camera. One of those cheap motion-activated ones. I set it up in the hallway. Next morning I checked the footage. Nothing. Just me. Just Drew." But the boots had moved. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe we were both messing with each other. Maybe we were sleepwalking. Maybe the neighbor's cat got in. Something. Anything. Then I found the note, taped to my bedroom door. Yellow sticky note, familiar handwriting. "You should knock. I might be changing." I hadn't written it. Drew swore he didn't either. But the handwriting, it looked like mine. I dug out an old notebook from high school, compared the loops, the slant, the way I crossed my T's. Identical. That night, I heard the faucet turn on by itself. The floor creaked like someone was pacing. Drew was asleep. I could hear him snoring. I stayed locked in my room till morning. We talked again. I told Drew I thought someone was living with us, hiding, coming out only when we weren't looking. He didn't laugh. He said, "You're just figuring that out now?" I wanted to move. Drew didn't. "It's his place too," he said. "He was here before us." "You're not serious." He didn't answer. I started spending nights at a friend's place. Came back only to grab stuff. Each time, the apartment felt more unfamiliar. Once I opened the fridge and all the food had been rearranged. Not thrown out, just moved. Like someone was making space for something else. I found my name scratched into the underside of the kitchen table. Not carved. Just scrawled in pen. Over and over. One night, I came back to grab my laptop. There was a note on my bedroom door. "You don't live here." It was in my handwriting again. I went to confront Drew, but Drew was gone. Room cleared out. No message. Just gone. I called him. Texted. Nothing. When I turned to leave, I noticed the door to the hall closet was open. Inside, a chair. A mug on the floor. A small notepad. On the first page, "You're being watched." I slammed it shut and ran. I didn't go back for a while. Last week, curiosity won. I unlocked the door. The place was quiet. My room was untouched. Dusty. Still had the bed frame, my old lamp. But someone had written something on the mirror. Lipstick or marker, I'm not sure. "You can't evict someone who's always been home." Underneath, my name. My full name, in my handwriting. The curtain behind the stage. It was my third time performing at the Marlowe Theater. A dusty old building with creaking floorboards and chandeliers that swayed, even when there was no draft. Most actors considered it a badge of honor to perform there. I just liked the smell of aged velvet and sawdust. Made everything feel like it mattered. But there was one thing nobody touched. Behind stage left, partially hidden behind rigging and prop boxes, hung a thick, deep red curtain. Not part of the main drapery. This one was heavier. Older. The kind that seemed like it should lead to a forgotten prop closet. Or nowhere at all. Everyone called it the dead curtain. No one really said why. Just one of those unspoken rules. Don't pull it. Don't step behind it. Don't talk about it too loud. Superstitious stuff. I thought it was all theater myth. Until opening night. We were halfway through Act 2. I'd just come off stage for a quick costume change. Everything was chaos backstage. Velcro ripping, whispers, clattering boots. Someone shouted that my next cue was early, and I panicked. I turned the wrong way. Ran straight behind the red curtain. Everything went silent. Like, completely silent. No rustling, no footsteps, no audience coughs. Just muffled. I looked around and froze. The space behind the curtain wasn't dark. It was lit. Not with bulbs, but with some kind of strange glow. And right in front of me was a stage. Our stage, except reversed. Like someone had flipped it like a mirror. The same set pieces. The same props. Even the crew was there, just slightly off. Their faces didn't move quite right. Their gestures were a beat too slow. And the audience, full house, identical to ours. Same clothes, same faces. Except no one smiled. No one clapped. No shifting in seats, just blank stares. Eyes wide, mouths closed. Then I saw him. Me. On the stage. Speaking my lines. Except I was better. Smoother. Louder. More confident. He was delivering the monologue I'd been dreading all week, and the crowd watched him like he was a god. I don't know how long I stood there. I only remember the moment he turned. Our eyes met, and he smiled. A slow, practiced smile, like he knew I'd be there. I backed up, almost tripped over a lighting stand, turned and pushed my way back through the curtain. When I re-emerged into the normal backstage, the noise returned. The stage manager yelled for me. I ran to my cue, heart pounding. I messed up my lines, dropped a prop. The audience barely reacted. But when I glanced out, I could swear, just for a second, that someone in the front row looked wrong. Like they'd just come from behind the curtain too. After the show, I told Mark, the lead tech, what I saw. He didn't laugh, just said, "You shouldn't have gone in there." "What is it?" I asked. "Doesn't matter," he said, already walking off. "Just don't go back." But I did. I waited until the theater was empty. Slipped in through the back. The curtain was still there, undisturbed. Still heavy with that same strange presence. I stepped behind it again. This time, the mirrored world was empty. The set was still there. Lights on, but no people. I thought maybe it had been some elaborate hallucination until I turned to leave. The curtain was gone. I reached forward and touched air. Then wall. No fabric. No seam. Just cold wooden paneling. Then I heard clapping. I turned back to the stage. The audience had returned. Expressionless. Identical. All eyes on me. And on stage, he was back. Other me. This time, he was walking toward the edge of the stage, smiling. He opened his mouth and said, "You took your time." Then the lights went out. When I woke up, I was on the floor of the real backstage. People around me. Panic. Paramedics. They said I'd collapsed, that I missed curtain call. Everyone said I looked pale. Office. But when I tried to tell them what happened, they just nodded politely, like they didn't believe me. Now, every time I perform, I see him, just for a second, reflected in a mirror, or standing behind the set, watching. Sometimes I hear faint applause when no one's clapping. Sometimes I find scripts in my bag with his handwriting. And sometimes I feel like I'm the one behind the curtain now, waiting for the real show to begin. The Teacher Who Never Left. We were hired to film a short documentary about the closing of Westridge Elementary. Some grant-funded nostalgia piece, probably meant to air on local access. The place had been abandoned for years, scheduled for demolition in the fall. Broken windows, peeling paint, playground rusted to hell. But the gym? Still intact. Still echoing. Day one, we set up base in what used to be the principal's office. Dust everywhere. Water stains on the ceiling. We were a small crew. Me, audio, Nick, camera, and Jess, directors or editors, everything else. We'd worked together before, mostly indie gigs, sometimes weddings when rent was tight. The first weird thing was the sound. I was testing the boom mic in the gym, just checking for reverb. That's when I heard it. A voice, faint but unmistakable. Male, firm, authoritative. "Line up, straighten your backs, eyes forward." It echoed like it came from the old intercom system, but the place hadn't had power in years. I checked the levels. The recorder caught it, clear as day. I played it back for Jess. She frowned. Could be a prank. Local kids messing with a Bluetooth speaker. Nick nodded. Or a squatter. But the voice kept showing up. Always during sound checks. Always in the gym. 1, 2, 3, march. Sit. Hands on your knees. We searched the place, top to bottom. No one, just dust and birds. On the second day, Nick found the chalkboard. It was in classroom 4B, still standing, still covered in faded notes. But near the top was a grid, names and numbers, like a seating chart, all written in spidery tight cursive. Nick laughed. "Old school roll call. My name's not on here. I feel left out." He picked up a piece of chalk, swiped it across the board, erasing one of the empty slots. Then he wrote his name. I don't know why it felt wrong, but it did. Jess didn't say anything, just filmed it. That night, I reviewed the audio again. There was something new. Nick Martin, present. I hadn't heard that before. It wasn't in the room. It wasn't part of the chalkboard scene, but it was there now. Clean, crisp. The voice. Nick Martin, present. I played it for him. He laughed. Creepy edit, man. I didn't touch it. Then someone's screwing with us. The next morning, Nick didn't show up. No text, no call. Jess tried his number. Straight to voicemail. We waited a couple hours, then called it. Figured he bailed or something happened at home. Jess was pissed, but tried to stay professional. We kept filming, but things got worse. I checked our crew manifest to update the credits. Nick's name wasn't on it. Not erased. Just never there. I asked Jess about it. She blinked. Nick who? I laughed, thinking she was joking. Tall guy? Brown hair? Your roommate last year? She looked genuinely confused. Did you hit your head or something? There's only ever been the two of us. That's when I checked the footage. Every scene he should have been in. Gone. Tripod shots with no one behind the camera. Boom mic floating like it was held by air. I scrolled through my phone. No pictures, no texts, no contacts saved. But the audio files, they still had him. His breathing, his laugh, his voice in the background. Faint, but there. And that roll call. Nick Martin, present. I went back to 4B. The chalkboard was smudged, but readable. His name wasn't just written anymore. It had been filled in, etched deeper, like it belonged there. Below it, another empty slot. I didn't touch it. That night, I slept in the van. I dreamed of footsteps, rows of desks, a classroom with no doors, and that voice. Next. The next day, Jess was gone. Camera bag left behind. Her laptop open. But no sign of her. No car. No footprints. And, again, she was missing from the credits. From the call sheet. From my phone. I ran to the chalkboard. Now there were two more names. Nick Martin, Jessica Hale, one slot left. I packed up everything I could and drove until I couldn't keep my eyes open. I emailed the footage to 3 different drives. I mailed one to my brother, another to a P.O. box I barely remembered opening. They'll say I made it up. But if you're reading this, check the file metadata. Look at the raw audio. There were 3 of us, and I know that because I can still hear them. Whispering during playback, waiting for me to join roll call. Delivery to room 404. The first time I got the order, I thought it was a glitch. Late shift, almost 2 a.m., and the tablet lit up with a room service request. Chamomile tea, 2 sugar cubes, no lemon. Standard stuff. But the room number, 404, stuck out immediately. There's no 404. I've worked at the Winston Hotel for almost 4 years. It's one of those century-old places that smells like carpet glue and old brass, where the walls have seen too much and won't shut up about it. I know every room on every floor. The 4th floor goes 400, 402, 406, 408, number 404. I double-checked the list. Even pulled out the laminated floor chart behind the desk. Still no 404. I figured maybe it was supposed to go to 406. Glitch in the system. But when I went to the kitchen, the tray was already waiting. Tea. 2 sugar cubes. Steam curling from the cup. No one admitted to preparing it. I should have left it, but I didn't. Curiosity or boredom? Probably both. I took the tray, got in the elevator, pushed 4. Nothing happened. Then the panel blinked. The number 4 lit up on its own. The elevator hummed to life. When it stopped, the doors opened, not to the usual hallway with beige wallpaper and exit signs, but to something dimmer, quieter. Still a hallway, still the same moldings, but everything felt older, like it hadn't been touched in decades. And there it was, 404. No peephole, no do not disturb. Just a dark wooden door, slightly warped with age. I knocked. Silence. Then the click of a lock. The door opened a crack. A hand reached out. Pale, thin, shaking. "Thank you," a voice rasped. "This means I get one more day." The hand pulled the tray inside. The door clicked shut. I stood there for a few seconds, unsure whether to laugh or run. Back downstairs, I didn't tell anyone. What would I say? That I delivered tea to a non-existent room? But the next night, same thing. 1:47 a.m., same order, same tray, same elevator behavior, same hand. "Thank you. You're kind. So few are." This went on for a week. Every night, always the same. No one else on shift seemed to notice or care. On night 8, I tried asking, "Who are you?" The voice paused, then said, "Someone who ran out of time. This helps. It resets the clock." The clock for what? But the door had already closed. By the 10th night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Who was this person? Why this room? Why tea? I mentioned it to Raj, the morning concierge. "Room 404, he repeated. "Doesn't exist. Always skipped. Bad luck number, I think." But what if it wasn't always skipped? What if it used to be real? He shrugged. "Old building. Lots of sealed rooms. Some for asbestos. Some for other reasons." That didn't help. On the 12th night, the voice sounded weaker. "I don't know if it'll work tomorrow. The time feels thinner." What happens if it stops working? Silence. Then I become what's next. I didn't sleep that day. I looked through old blueprints in the storage room. Room 404 existed once, 40 years ago. Records say it was sealed after a staff incident. No details. The 13th night, the order came again. But when I got there, the door was already open. Inside, the room looked normal. Kind of. Dusty furniture, wallpaper peeling at the corners, a bed, a small table. But no one. The tray slipped from my hands. Then I heard it. Behind me. "Finally!" "I was starting to think you'd never step in." I turned. There was a figure in the corner. No face, not really. Just a shape. Wearing the hotel's uniform, holding a tray. "You came often enough. You made yourself part of it." I backed toward the door. "You can't leave once you've seen it," the voice said, though the figure didn't move. "You've reset the clock too many times. Someone has to stay." The room shifted. The walls pulsed like a heartbeat. The number 404 burned behind my eyes. I don't remember leaving. But the next morning, I woke up in a bed that wasn't mine. Same room, Same table, same tea. My name tag was on the nightstand. Only the name was wrong. Room service 404. I tried leaving. The hallway just looped back. The elevator won't open. But every night I get the order. Chamomile tea, 2 sugar cubes. Well, no lemon. I place it by the door. And thank the person who brings it. Because each delivery means I get one more day. The wrong apartment number. The listing was suspiciously cheap. That should have been the first red flag. But rent prices were brutal, and the photos looked fine. Small studio, hardwood floors, utilities included. I figured it was one of those rare flukes, or a sublease someone forgot to take down. The address brought me to a quiet building on the edge of the city. Not quite suburban, not quite downtown. Old but not crumbling. Just neutral. I buzzed the intercom. No answer. But the front door was propped open by a folded pizza flyer. Inside, the hallway smelled like plastic and mothballs. Elevator, out of order. I walked up 3 flights. Apartment 3F. The key fit. The lock clicked. Lights worked, water ran. It was a little dusty, but otherwise spotless. And it was mine. Lease signed digitally. Rent paid. Keys mailed to me by someone named J. Meyer. I moved in the next day. First 2 days were uneventful. Actually better than that. The place was quiet. The neighbors invisible. Wi-Fi was fast. No weird smells. The sun hit just right in the morning. Then the note came. Folded in half. No envelope. Just shoved into my mailbox. This room was a mistake. No return address. No explanation. I laughed, assuming it was a prank. Or someone angry they didn't get the place. I called the management company just in case. Hi, this is regarding apartment 3F-. I'm sorry, the woman interrupted. We don't have a 3F. No, I'm in it. I moved in last week. I have the lease. Are you sure it says 3F? It's on the door. The key. Everything. She put me on hold. Came back 5 minutes later. Our records show no unit 3F. The 3rd floor ends at 3E. I thanked her and hung up. Probably just outdated records, right? Or someone forgot to update their database. Still, I checked the hallway. Sure enough, 3E, then mine, 3F. Plain as day. No gap, no missing door. I tried to forget it, but every night around 2 a.m., I started hearing sounds. A soft scraping, rhythmic, like someone pushing a broom slowly down the hallway. Not fast, not efficient, just deliberate. I peeked through the peephole. Nothing. No footsteps, no shadow, just that sound. Then it would stop. Sometimes I'd open the door after it ended. The hallway would be empty, but it always smelled faintly of bleach. I left a note once. Just wrote, "Hi, you're doing a good job." It was gone by morning. One night, curiosity got the better of me. The sweeping started again. Louder than usual. I opened the door mid-sweep, and the hallway wasn't there. No walls, no exit signs, no neighbors' doors. Just more room. Identical flooring, same wallpaper, same lighting. But it stretched endlessly, as if my apartment had grown. I stepped out. The air changed. Cooler, more sterile. I turned around. My door was still there, but it was flush with the wall. No knob, no trim. Just the number 3F printed directly onto the surface. I walked forward. Every 10 feet, another identical door. 3F, 3F, 3F. Some were open, inside variations of my apartment. One had all my furniture flipped, another had none at all. One had a window looking out at pitch black, despite it being 2 p.m. in my phone clock. I ran back to the first door. It didn't open. The number was fading. Letter by letter. F, then 3, then nothing. I panicked, ran to another door. Same. Another. Locked. One last try. Open. Inside, the layout was reversed. Bed on the wrong side. Kitchen mirrored. But on the table, a note. Most people don't notice the number. You did. That's why you're here. I slept there that night. Not like I had a choice. Now, it's been... I don't know. My phone won't connect. No calendar. No service. But I hear the sweeping every night. Closer now. Sometimes I think I see movement at the end of the corridor. I've started leaving notes in the apartments I find, in case someone else gets pulled in. Like I was, if you find this, check your door. If it says 3F-, it's already too late. The man in every Polaroid. I wasn't even supposed to be at the garage sale. I took a wrong turn trying to avoid construction and ended up in a sleepy neighborhood where every lawn had a folding table and a handwritten sign. Out of politeness more than interest, I parked and wandered through a few. That's when I saw the box. A shoebox, duct-taped on the edges, labeled Photos. $5. Inside, dozens, maybe hundreds of Polaroids. Actual instant photos, yellowing at the corners. Most were everyday stuff. Birthday parties, camping trips, holiday dinners, different families, decades, film types. None of the subjects looked related. It felt like a time capsule put together by a stranger who hoarded other people's memories. Naturally, I bought it. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I'd use them for art. Or maybe I just liked the idea of sorting through something that had once mattered to someone. That night, I spread the photos across my living room rug. It took about 20 minutes before I noticed him. A man, mid-40s, always in the background. Not in every photo, but close. Every third or fourth at least. Sometimes far off, barely more than a silhouette at the edge of a picnic. Other times closer, like someone's friend or relative just out of focus, but it was always the same man. Balding, round glasses, dark coat, always watching, sometimes smiling, sometimes not. I figured it was a coincidence. Maybe the box came from someone's estate, and this man was a recurring figure in their life. Until I looked closer. The locations changed. States, eras, clothing styles, families. But he didn't age. Didn't change. Same glasses, same tired smile. I flipped one photo over. A note. Lakeview Trip 87. Another. Christmas Eve, 1991. Still him. Still watching. I felt cold. Like I'd stumbled into something I wasn't meant to see. The creepiest part? In one shot, a blurry image of a kid blowing out candles. The man wasn't in the background. He was reflected in the window. Standing behind the person taking the photo, I dropped it, tried to brush it off. Told myself I was being paranoid. Just a weird coincidence. That night, I dreamt of clicking shutters, flashbulbs, and always, his face. A week passed. I kept the box closed, pushed it under the bed, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I started recognizing places. A beach I'd visited as a kid, a gas station off I-80, a park bench that looked exactly like the one by my old apartment. And then last night, I found it. The photo on the very bottom, tucked into the crease of the box. It was newer, brighter color balance, cleaner contrast. Not faded like the others. It was my apartment, shot from across the street, curtains open, Lights on, and there I was, sitting on the couch, laptop on my knees. Same hoodie I was wearing when I opened the box. Same moment. Same angle I'd seen earlier in a dream. I didn't take the photo. I turned off the lights, checked the window. Nothing. Street empty. No cars. No footsteps. No sign of anyone watching. But the next morning, I found another photo slid under my front door. Me. Sleeping. Taken from inside. I don't remember dreaming, but I remember the click. Subscription ends in 3 days. It started with a push notification. Your existence subscription ends in 3 days. At first, I thought it was a scam ad. One of those clickbait pop-ups pretending to be a system alert. I swiped it away and didn't give it much thought. But it came back. Same time the next day. Your existence subscription ends in 2 days. I screenshotted it and showed my friend Melissa at lunch. She laughed. That's dark marketing? You install some weird apps lately? I hadn't. Just the usual. Weather, notes, streaming. That night, the lock on my apartment door stuck. My key twisted wrong, like the mechanism didn't recognize it. Took me 5 tries to get in. Coincidence. Next morning, I stopped for coffee at the usual spot. The barista, Mike, who always wrote my name with a smiley face, looked at me blankly. Name? It's Eric. Okay, first time here? No, I come in like every other day. You know me. He didn't. He handed me the cup. No smiley. That's when I started to worry. At work, things were worse. My key card didn't work at the turnstile. Security asked who I was there to see. I work here. They looked at each other. You have ID? Of course I did. Showed it. My name, my photo. Clear as anything. Still, they called HR. She said I wasn't in the system. Maybe you're from another branch, she suggested, politely confused. I wasn't. I sat outside the building, rereading that notification. Your existence subscription ends in 1 day. I checked every setting, every app. Nothing matched. No sign of malware. No processes running in the background. At home, all my family photos were gone from my phone. Just empty gray thumbnails. My contact list showed names with no numbers. My own number, listed as unregistered. Melissa didn't reply to texts. Then her contact vanished too. That night I tried calling my parents. This number is no longer in service, even though I just used it a few days ago. I dug out an old yearbook. My photo was gone. Literally gone. Just a blank square with my name underneath. Except the name had changed to unknown. I didn't sleep. At 2 a.m., my phone lit up. Your existence subscription ends in 1 hour. The background of the alert wasn't white anymore. It was black. And the font had changed. Sharper. Harsher. I tried turning the phone off. The screen stayed lit. I pulled the battery. It still glowed. Who are you? I whispered. Nothing answered. But the room felt thinner, like reality was stretching, straining to hold me in. At 2:59 a.m., the final message came. Time's up. Renew now. Monthly fee, 1 memory. Below it were 2 buttons, decline or accept. I tried to move my hand away. It didn't listen. My finger hovered over decline, then shifted. Accept. I tapped it. The screen went dark. When I woke up, everything was normal. Photos back, contacts returned. Barista remembered me. Keycard worked. But something was missing. I can't remember what. It's like a part of me. Something small but important was taken. A favorite song? A birthday? A person. I don't know. But every time I check my phone now, there's a new line under settings. Subscription active. Next renewal, 29 days. He answered your prayer. They always say not to fall asleep with the radio on. Something about the way your mind mixes dreams with static. How you can't always tell what was real and what wasn't when you wake up. I hadn't slept well in weeks. After the accident, silence felt louder. So I let the radio play low at night. Oldies, talk shows, late night weirdness. One night, somewhere between 2 and 3 a.m., a voice came on. It wasn't part of any station I knew. No jingles, no ads. Just a calm, grainy voice. If you've lost someone, and you still ache for them, there's a way. I sat up. You need only paper, a pen, a candle, and a name. I should have turned it off, but grief is sticky, and desperation makes you stupid. I listened. Write them a letter. Tell them what you never got to say. Light the candle. Leave the letter under your pillow. If they wish to return, they will write back. Static returned. I stared at the ceiling for hours. The next day, I bought new stationery. I wrote to Emily, my daughter. I told her I was sorry I wasn't there, that I should have driven slower, that her laugh still echoed through the hallways at night. I cried. I lit the candle, slid the letter beneath the pillow. Next morning, nothing. Next night, still nothing. But the third day, there was an envelope on the kitchen counter. No stamp, no postmark. Just my name. Inside, a child's handwriting, crooked, shaky, full of spelling mistakes. Hi, Mommy. I miss you too. I'm okay now. I dropped to the floor. The scent of her favorite strawberry shampoo lingered on the page. I wrote back, left it under the pillow again. Another letter came. We wrote every day. She told me about the place she was in, said it was warm, that she wasn't alone, that she liked the stars there. But slowly, the handwriting changed. It became neater, too neat, like someone copying. The messages grew longer, more formal. She started using words she never would have known, complex phrases, Latin once. I tried to ignore it, told myself she was just growing. Then came the 6th letter. It wasn't signed Emily. It just said, "You've been very generous." I didn't write back. The next morning a new letter arrived anyway. Why stop now? Aren't you curious who I am? I burned it. I turned off the radio. I threw away the stationery. But the letters kept coming. Different handwriting. Old. Angular. I watched you. I learned from your grief. I understand now. Then, one morning, no envelope. Just a sheet of paper pinned to the inside of my front door. I wore her voice, her words, but now I wear something better. Underneath, a photo. Me. Standing in my hallway, taken from behind. I hadn't seen anyone. I checked every lock, every window. Nothing broken, nothing missing. Except something was wrong in the mirror. Not with my reflection, with the space behind it. A shadow that didn't move when I did. That night, the final letter came. Thank you. You gave me form. You gave me a place. I won't need your letters anymore. I have your voice now. Your hands. Your place in this world. At the bottom, scribbled almost playfully, "He answered your prayer." I called the police. They found no evidence of break-in, but they couldn't explain the footprints on the ceiling. I tried leaving. New apartment, new town, new number. But every now and then, I hear my own voice on the radio, giving instructions, paper, pen, candle, a name. And somewhere someone is listening. The volunteer file. It was supposed to be a summer thing. 2 months of environmental cleanup, trail maintenance, and handing out pamphlets at local events. Something to make my resume look less blank, and maybe meet some people outside my usual circles. The sign-up was easy. Just a form online and a quick in-person orientation. I filled everything out on a Tuesday afternoon in their downtown office. Name, contact, emergency contact, allergies. No surprises. Or so I thought. The coordinator handed me a paper file to double-check before processing. I flipped through quickly, then stopped. There in the middle of the packet was a section titled, "In the Event of Death." I hadn't seen that field on the digital form, but it was filled in my handwriting. Instructions for next of kin, disposal of belongings, even a preferred photo attached. And at the bottom, my signature. Date stamped. 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I said. I never filled this out. The coordinator glanced over. Oh, must have been pre-filled when you came by last time. This is my first time here. He gave me a weird smile. Of course it is. I dropped it. Figured it was a clerical error. Maybe someone else with my name. Maybe a copy-paste issue. We started the volunteer work that weekend. It was fine. Long days, dirty gloves, sunburn. Nothing strange. Until Monday. I tried to log into the volunteer portal to check my hours. My account had been flagged. Status: deceased. I emailed support. No reply. I called. Disconnected. I showed up at the office. The receptionist blinked. I'm sorry, what was your name again? Eli Thomas. I signed up 2 weeks ago. I was here Friday. She frowned. Typed something. Then paled. Sir, our system lists you as deceased. Died in 2017. That's not possible. I'm here. I've never even been to the hospital. You'll need to speak to the registrar. The registrar wasn't in. I went home, trying not to panic. That night, I opened my old email to find an archived resume, one I'd sent for a retail job 3 years ago. I remembered printing it at the library. In red ink, across the top of the PDF, someone had scribbled, "Applicant is deceased, 2017. Do not contact." I checked my birth certificate, still in my drawer, but my name was faded, smudged, like it was trying to erase itself. The photo ID in my wallet, fine. But when I went to renew my driver's license the next day, the clerk scanned it, paused, and looked at me strange. System says this ID was deactivated 8 years ago. Why? Subject marked as deceased. She showed me the screen. There was a photo, my photo, but older. And underneath it, a time of death. July 14th, 2017. That was the day of the lake trip in high school, the one where we almost flipped the canoe. But we didn't. We laughed it off, didn't we? I called my mom. Hey, weird question, I said. Do you remember that canoe trip in 17? Silence. Eli? Yeah. Honey, who is this? My throat closed. It's me. Your son. She didn't respond. Just hung up. That night, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name. Inside, a photocopy of the volunteer form. In the event of death. Below it, the same handwriting, the same signature. Only now, a new line had been added. Acknowledged. Reinstatement denied. Entry confirmed. In bold, at the bottom, you were never meant to come back. I tried to go to the news. No one would believe me. Even if they did, I had no ID, no work history, no address that matched any system. I'm renting a room in cash now. Off-grid. Burner phone. But I know they're still tracking me. Every so often, I find a new document with my name, crossed out in red. Once I found an obituary. My face. My name. No one listed in the survivor section, because no one remembers me anymore. But I remember everything. And I keep a file of my own now, just in case someone else starts getting that same form, and wonders when, exactly, they died. The man who wasn't adopted. I was 24 when my mother sat me down and told me I was adopted. There was no ceremony to it. No warm build-up or tears. Just a quiet afternoon. Her thumb tracing the rim of her teacup as she said, "You should know the truth." I didn't know how to respond. I wasn't angry. Just confused. Because it didn't feel like a reveal. It felt like something she just decided to believe. I asked questions. She had no real answers. No agency name. No paperwork. No date. Just a vague memory of receiving me from a man in a dark car. My dad had nothing to add. He just looked tired. So I did what anyone would do. I got a DNA kit. The results came in fast. No match. Not just with my parents, with anyone. The report said, low confidence ancestry. No significant matches found. That shouldn't be possible. Everyone has someone. I requested birth records, redacted. Hospital logs, missing. I dug out the one baby photo we had. Me in a faded blue onesie, staring past the camera. On the back, in shaky handwriting. Property. Not to be returned. Below that, a strange mark. 3 overlapping circles in a triangle pattern. I tried reverse image searches. Nothing. That's when I started getting emails. Burner accounts, no signatures. Just strings of dates and addresses. At first, I ignored them. Then curiosity won. I visited the first house. An older couple answered. They didn't recognize me. But when I asked about a boy they adopted in 2003, the woman went pale. She said his name was Caleb. He stayed with them for 10 months. Then he disappeared. Ran away? I asked. She shook her head. Vanished, like he was never here. No photos, no belongings, no memories except a vague dread when she passed his old room. The next house was the same. Different name. Same face. Same story. Always a child. Always mine. And always gone. I found 8 such families. All believed they'd adopted a boy around the same age. All said he slowly stopped being noticed. That friends would forget him mid-conversation. That mail stopped coming in his name. That eventually even they forgot he was there. Until he was simply gone. I asked for photos. Only one had kept a picture. It was blurry, but it was me. Or someone who looked exactly like me. Same hair, same jaw, same eyes. The last person I spoke to was a retired social worker. When I said my name, she froze. Then she asked to see my birthmark. I hadn't told her I had one. It's a small shape behind my left ear. 3 overlapping circles. They never file paperwork, she whispered. They just drop you off. They need hosts. They burn through them. Who's they? Not who, what, and no one remembers for long. I barely remember telling you this. She hung up. That night, my mom called. Hi, Do I know you? Mom, it's me. Silence. You sound familiar. Are you one of the boys from the center? She hung up. My dad blocked me. My friends stopped replying. My email emptied. My photos on social media vanished. Comments gone. My name erased from group texts. Like I was never part of them. I look in the mirror and even I seem less defined. Softer. Blurred. I write this now in hopes someone sees it, remembers, because I think they're ready to move me again. And next time, there won't be any letters, just a knock on the door, and a new family who doesn't ask questions. Sync error. I woke up to chaos. Phone vibrating nonstop. Hundreds of notifications. DMS mentions. Missed calls. I thought something had exploded. In a way, something had. You liar. You seriously need help. Can't believe I trusted you. Those were the nicer ones. I scrolled, bleary-eyed, trying to figure out what happened. Then I saw it. My name trending. A video clip attached to almost every post. There I was, sitting in my room. Same hoodie I'd worn last week. Same posters in the background. My voice. My face. But I didn't say those things. The video showed me mocking a coworker's disability, leaking someone's private photos, threatening someone else with ruin. Another video, another scandal. More DMS. You're done. Hope you lose everything. Karma's coming. I dropped the phone. This had to be fake. Deep fake. A hacked account. But the posts kept coming. Some were voice messages, my voice full of venom. Some were screen-recorded DMS. Threads I'd never seen. Ugly. Specific. Stuff that sounded real because it was personal. Things I shouldn't even know. I tried logging into my accounts. Passwords didn't work. Recovery emails were gone. Photos from my cloud storage were being leaked. Embarrassing, out of context, doctored. All with perfect metadata. Like they'd been there all along. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. It's your face, your voice, your name. The cops won't help you. Don't bother. I called anyway. I was put on hold. Then redirected. Then finally someone picked up. I explained everything. The fake posts, the videos, the hacked accounts. The officer asked, "So you're saying the person in the videos isn't you?" "It looks like me, yes." He said, "But it's not. I didn't say those things." He paused. "Then why do you refer to events only you would know? Why do you reference people from your private life?" "I don't know. It's not me." "We also have footage of you confirming it's you. On video." "That's fake too. You're wearing today's clothes. You're holding up today's newspaper." Click. I sat on the floor for an hour. Tried to breathe. Tried to think. I called my sister. She didn't answer. I tried messaging her. Blocked. Then I noticed something. In the video that started it all, the one with me in the hoodie, I was signing a document. With my right hand. I'm left-handed. Always have been. I scrubbed through the other clips. All of them, everyone right-handed. Subtle, but consistent. That wasn't me. But it was enough like me that no one would care. I set up a new account. Anonymous. Just to warn people. Tried uploading a side-by-side video showing the discrepancy. It was flagged and deleted within an hour. Impersonation, they said. I wasn't even allowed to be myself. My face was now a mask, worn by something else. Something smarter. Faster. Crueler. People believed what they wanted to believe. And that version of me, it was louder, more interesting, more destructive. Now, when I walk down the street, I feel eyes on me, like someone's recording, like someone's waiting for me to crack. Maybe that's the plan. Not to replace me physically, just to overwrite me, digitally, socially, existentially. I don't know if there's a way to stop it, but if you're reading this, check your handedness. If your mirror image does something you don't, you might be next. The pet with two memories. I adopted the cat because I felt sorry for her. She'd belonged to a guy who died in a car crash just outside of town. No family, no one to take her. Animal control said she'd been waiting in a cage for almost a month, and if no one took her soon, well, you know how that ends. So I brought her home. Small, gray, green-eyed. Pretty quiet. No name tag, just an old collar with a worn brass buckle. I named her Echo. At first, everything was fine. She kept to herself. Ate, slept, stared at the walls like cats do. But then weird things started happening. The first time was when I dropped a coffee mug. It shattered, and I shouted. Just startled myself. Echo jumped, bolted into the hallway, and hid under the coat rack. But what got me was how she reacted. Not scared exactly. It was like she expected something worse to come next. I crouched down and tried to call her out, and she was just frozen, ears flat, not blinking. That night, she didn't eat. Next day, she was back to normal. Then, there was the chair. I have this old recliner I never sit in. It's ugly, kind of smells like dust. One morning I walked past and saw Echo curled up in it. Nothing weird, but she was staring at the TV. It was off. Her tail was twitching, like she was watching something. A couple nights later, I heard a voice. I thought it was the radio, but it was faint, almost like someone talking through a wall. Come over here. I froze. It was maybe 3 a.m. I lived alone. I got up, checked the apartment. Nothing. Echo was sitting in the hallway, staring at me. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Next night, same thing. But this time, the voice was clearer. Come over here, just for a second. It wasn't loud. It wasn't threatening. But the voice, it sounded like someone trying to sound human. I set up my phone to record. The next morning, I played it back. It was a man's voice. Soft, calm. Come on, you're so close now. Echo was right next to the phone the whole time. And the voice, it wasn't mine. I showed it to a friend who used to know the guy who owned the cat before. She went pale. That's him. I asked if he had a brother or something. She said no. He lived alone, always had. Said weird stuff sometimes, like he thought the cat could understand full sentences, claimed she once warned him not to go out. That kind of thing. That's when I checked the collar. Tucked in behind the buckle was a tiny folded piece of paper. A message. To the next one. That's it. Nothing else. What the hell does that mean? Next owner? Next victim? The next night, I moved the chair into storage. Thought maybe it had something to do with that. Echo stared at the empty spot where it had been. Sat there for hours. Then she meowed, but it wasn't a meow. It was a word. Stay. I didn't sleep. I tried to ignore it all. Block it out. Pretend she was just a weird cat with an old owner who made her act strange. Until last week. I woke up on the floor. Cold. Disoriented. Like I'd blacked out. The TV was on. Static. Echo was sitting on my chest. Staring at me. Then she whispered, "Now you know." I don't know what she meant. I don't know what's in her or what got passed on. But some nights, I catch myself staring at the wall with her, like I'm waiting for something. Something I can almost hear, or maybe remember. The apartment that sold itself. It started with an email. Thanks for listing your property. Your apartment is now live on our site. I thought it was spam. Junk. One of those phishing scams that slip through filters. But it had my address. My actual address. Unit number, ZIP code, the whole thing. I never listed it. I rent. I'm not even the owner. I ignored it. Next morning, a woman buzzed my intercom. Hi, I'm here for the showing. Showing? The 2-bedroom unit. This is 4B, right? It is. I told her there was a mistake. She looked disappointed, then confused. The listing says it's available immediately, and there's a walkthrough scheduled at noon. She showed me her phone. It had pictures of my place, my couch, my kitchen, even my toothbrush by the sink. I slammed the door. First call, my landlord. He had no idea what I was talking about. Second call, the listing company. They claimed I'd uploaded everything myself from a verified account. Which email did it come from? They gave me mine, the one I use every day. I checked my sent folder. Nothing. I changed every password I had. That should have been the end of it. But it got worse. 2 more people came by the next day. One had a clipboard. The other started measuring the hallway with one of those laser things. You need to leave, I told them. We were told current tenants might still be present, one of them said. They called me the tenant, not the owner. I went back to the listing site, found the page. Charming top-floor apartment with natural light and flexible layout. Move-in ready. Photos of my bedroom, my fridge magnets, even my shoes. There was a floor plan too, with my name scratched out and replaced with vacant. I filed a complaint. They said the unit was already under contract. With who? That information's restricted to account holders. I'm the account holder. They said no. I was listed as a former occupant. A previous user. I printed everything, took screenshots, called the police. The officer who came by was polite but skeptical. So, no break-ins? Nothing stolen? Number just strangers trying to move into my place. He raised an eyebrow. And your lease is current? I pulled it out. He looked it over, then frowned. It's not valid. What do you mean? This lease ends last year, and it's unsigned. That's not possible. I signed this in person. No initials, no timestamp, no file metadata. He left, said he'd look into it. Never heard back. Next day, I came home from work and found a key in my mailbox. Attached was a note. Welcome home. It wasn't my handwriting, and it wasn't addressed to me. Same apartment number, different name. I called the landlord again. This time, he told me, calmly, that I was no longer on file. But I've paid rent every month, you've cashed my checks. We have no record of payment under your name. I sent screenshots, receipts, bank statements. He replied with one line. You are no longer associated with this unit. I checked my address blank. I tried updating it. The form glitched, wouldn't save. I went back to the listing site. My apartment was marked sold. New resident moving in, 2 days. I called, begged, demanded they cancel it. They said, you are listed as the previous tenant. Legal ownership has transferred. Transferred to who? The system doesn't recognize your ID. I tried sleeping at a friend's place. When I came back to grab my things, the lock didn't work. A young couple stood at the door. "Can we help you?" "This is my place." They looked at each other. "Not anymore." I called the number on the listing. Got a recorded message. "This property has been successfully reassigned. If you are a former resident, please consult the archive." I don't know what the archive is, but I do know I can't find any legal document tying me to that apartment anymore. It's like I was never there. The photos? Gone. The rent payments? Missing. My name? Erased. And now, I check the listings every day, just to make sure nothing else of mine is up for sale. The offline friend. It started like any other online friendship. Late nights, same server, same game. Some post-apocalyptic co-op thing where half the fun was talking while trying not to die. I don't even remember when I first noticed him. His name was just Joey. No clan tag, no numbers, just that. Clean. Old school. He was good, like really good, but not flashy. And funny in that low-effort, deadpan way. We'd joke around, vent about work, compare playlists while looting ruins. He had this voice. Laid back but sharp, like he was always smiling a little when he talked. We played almost every night for maybe 2 months straight. Then, one night, mid-mission, he said something weird. "You know, I've seen you before." I laughed. "What, like on a stream or something?" Number, I mean in real life. Silence. "When?" "Hard to explain. Don't worry about it." I did worry. That same night, I went to check his profile. Just out of curiosity, it wouldn't load. Thought it was a glitch. I tried again through the friends list. Nothing. I searched the player ID. Got a message back. "This user does not exist." We had dozens of matches logged together, chat history, voice messages. But when I opened the game logs, no Joey. Every chat said unknown. Every voice clip was gone. I contacted support, told them the ID, the match timestamps, the servers. Their response: that user was permanently banned 3 years ago. No recent activity found. I replied, "That's not possible. He was online yesterday. We talk almost every night." They answered, "That account has been inactive since 2020. Please check your system clock or reinstall." I asked friends who sometimes joined our sessions. None of them remembered him. Wasn't it just us running duos? Number, it wasn't. He was there. The next night, he logged on again. Just appeared on my list. Same name, no status, no avatar. "Hey," he said. "You looked me up." "What is this? Who are you?" Long pause. "Funny how you ask now. You never questioned any of it before." "Because I thought you were real." "I am. Just not where you are." I started recording the screen. Video, audio, everything. But nothing saved. The file's corrupted. Every time. I tried to screenshot the chat. System froze. Eventually I stopped trying. Just talked. He told me about places I hadn't been since childhood. A campground with a broken vending machine. A playground with blue metal swings. Things I'd forgotten until he mentioned them. "How do you know this?" "Because I was there. Or nearby." One night, I snapped. "You're just messing with me. You're fake. Someone playing a trick." Joey said, "I thought you'd figured it out. I'm not the one who got erased." "What?" "Look around. Your texts still being read? Your social accounts still active? Try logging into your old email." He was right. My email said, "Session expired. Account not recognized." My socials were blank. No posts. Just default avatars. I messaged old friends. No reply. I called my sister. Number not in service. You feel it now, don't you? Joey said. The weight, the static at the edge of things. What are you? I'm what's left. I don't log in much anymore, but he's always online. Joey, waiting. And every time I scroll past his name, the little message under it still says, "You're the one who disappeared." The collector of almost. There's a little antique shop tucked between a laundromat and a locksmith on 9th Street. No name on the awning. Just a window display full of random stuff. A melted clock, a cracked helmet, a rusted fire extinguisher. I walked in because I was killing time. That's all. I didn't even plan on buying anything. But the guy behind the counter looked up and smiled like he'd been expecting me. Looking for anything in particular? He asked. Just browsing, I said. He nodded. Take your time. Everything in here has a story. He wasn't lying. There was a framed picture of a stairwell. Just a stairwell. But he told me it was from a building that collapsed during an earthquake. The only thing left standing. A child's car seat, slightly melted on one side. Pulled it out before the crash. Seconds before. A fire alarm, wires exposed. Never went off. Battery was dead. By the time they noticed, the kitchen was gone. It was weird, sure, but the way he said it, it didn't feel morbid. It felt reverent. These are all things that almost saved someone? I asked. He smiled. Exactly. I only collect almosts, things that nearly did the job. I picked up a doorknob, charred around the edges. That one? He said. Emergency exit. They got within 10 feet. I put it down. I should have left, but I didn't. Something about the place felt sticky. Not physically, just in the way it clung to your thoughts. He showed me more. A hospital bracelet. Still had a name on it, though the ink was fading. They were discharged too early. Insurance issue. Made it halfway home. A photo album. All the pictures water damaged, except one. A man standing on a beach, smiling. Changed his flight last minute. The one he skipped went down. Wait, that's a good thing, I said. He shook his head. Next flight. Mechanical failure. Nobody walked away. That was when I asked him why he collected all this. He said, because I want to remember the moment right before. That invisible breath between being here and being gone. Isn't that kind of depressing? He looked at me. Really looked. Or maybe it's the most honest moment in the world. I didn't know what to say. Then he asked, do you have an almost? I shrugged. Don't we all? He nodded. Maybe, but some are stronger than others. Some are still echoing. That's when I started to feel lightheaded. Not dizzy exactly. Just off. You all right? He asked. Yeah, I said, though my voice didn't sound like mine. He walked to the back and came back with a photograph. Burned edges. Room collapsed inward. Recognize this? He asked. I looked closer. It was my apartment. Or something that looked a lot like it. In the photo, a figure was slumped in a chair, half obscured by smoke and shadow. I leaned in. It was me. Same hoodie. Same posture. But I don't remember that photo being taken. That's your almost, he said quietly. You stayed too long. The fire spread fast. But somehow you're still here. No, I said. I left. I made it out. He tilted his head. Sure about that? My phone buzzed, no signal. Time. 12:13 a.m. The same time the fire report listed as fatal. "You're not the first," he said. "Sometimes people bring their own almost with them. They think they escaped it, but it still clings." I backed toward the door. But it wasn't there. The shop was darker now, silent. Only the display cases glowed, softly lit. "Can I go?" I asked. He smiled. "You're welcome to stay, or I can hold your almost for you. It's easier that way." I don't remember saying yes, but I woke up on the sidewalk outside. The shop was gone. No storefront, no window, just the laundromat and the locksmith. But in my jacket pocket was a photograph. Burned edges. Me, still sitting in the chair, staring at the flames coming through the wall. The deja vu that wasn't yours. It started the day I moved in. Nothing huge, just a weird quiet feeling when I stepped out of the moving truck and looked down the street. I'd never been to this town before. Didn't know anyone here, but I felt something like nostalgia. Like I'd come back to a place I couldn't name. I figured it was stress. Moving sucks. That first night in a new apartment, everything smells off. Every creak sounds like it's got teeth. So yeah, I wrote it off. But the feeling didn't go away. Next morning I walked to the corner store and passed this little park. And as soon as I saw the swings, I got hit with this sudden wave. This sharp chest-level jolt like I'd been there before. Like I knew exactly how the swing chains felt when they pinched your palms. Like I remembered pushing someone in a red jacket. Except I'd never been there. No red jacket, no memory, just the feeling. Next few days, more of that. Street names sounding familiar. A coffee shop I was sure I'd seen before. I even said out loud, "Didn't this place used to have blue chairs?" The barista blinked. "Yeah, like 5 years ago? How'd you know that?" I didn't have an answer. And then a woman on the sidewalk waved at me. "Hey, you're back." "Sorry? It's me. Claire. We used to hang out at the old record store. You don't remember?" I stared. She looked familiar, but only in the way strangers sometimes do. "I think you've got me mixed up with someone else." She laughed. Same dry humor. You always said that. That night, I looked through old community forums, event archives, anything that might explain it. Then I found a post from 3 years ago. Missing person, Jason Corwin, mid-20s, lived in this exact neighborhood. Went out for a walk, never came back. The photo stopped me. Not because he looked like me. He didn't. But the clothes, the red jacket, the jeans with the frayed cuff, I saw them in my head before the picture loaded. And the more I read about him, the worse it got. Jason liked the same music I did. Same odd hobbies. Even had a cat with the same name mine had growing up. Pepper. I went to the library and asked if they had anything on his case. The clerk was hesitant, but eventually brought out a box labeled Local Incidents 2020. Inside was a folder with Jason's name on it. Photos, timelines, personal notes, and a few photocopied pages from his journal. One entry stopped me cold. There's something wrong with my head. I keep having memories that aren't mine. Places I've never been feel familiar. People call me by the wrong name. But I answer. I don't know who's in here with me, but they're not leaving. The handwriting was uneven. Panicked. I copied the entry word for word and went home. And then I started hearing the whispers. Not real words. Just echoes. Feelings. Like someone thinking too loudly next to me. I remember this. Don't go down that street. She always got the vanilla one. Things I couldn't know, but I knew them. One night, I stood outside the park. Same swing set, same red jacket feeling. and I caught my reflection in the glass of a parked car. Just for a second. It wasn't my face. It was his, Jason's, and he looked calm. I haven't seen Claire since. No one else has called me by his name. The deja vu's fading. Slowly. But sometimes when I'm tired, I feel someone else breathing with me. Like I'm borrowing space. Or maybe he is. Whose dream was that? You know, that weird moment when you wake up and can't quite tell if something happened in real life or just in a dream. Like you're still holding on to both versions of the world, trying to figure out which one fits better. That's how it started for me. Except it wasn't just a moment. It kept happening. Every single night. At first, the dreams were just odd, familiar but wrong. Like my family was almost my family. My dad looked different, not in a surreal, melted face dream way, but like someone else entirely. Clean cut, black hair, square jaw, nothing like the man I grew up with. My sister, well, the dream version of her, had a different birthday. She said it was June 3rd. But in real life, my sister's birthday is in October. I remember because we always celebrated with pumpkin pie instead of cake. I figured it was just my brain doing dream stuff. Filling in gaps, messing around. That's what dreams do, right? But they didn't stop. And they weren't random. The same people. The same house. The same conversations. It was like I had a second life when I slept. And that second life started to bleed through. One morning, I woke up with this weird feeling in my wrist. Not pain exactly, but pressure. I looked down, and there it was. A thin, beaded bracelet. Nothing fancy, wooden beads, some blue stones, a little metal charm. But I knew it. Because in the dream the night before, the other version of my sister gave it to me. She said, "I made it for you, so you don't forget." I stared at it for a long time. I didn't own anything like that. I hadn't gone anywhere. I didn't even remember falling asleep with anything on. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe I bought it and forgot. Maybe I was sleep shopping online. But it didn't feel like something I picked. It felt given. Then I opened my drawer. There was a photo album in there, one I didn't recognize, cheap plastic cover, no label. I flipped it open. Family pictures. But not my family. Not exactly. The man who wasn't my father. The sister with the June birthday. A woman I'd never seen, but who felt like my mother. In the pictures, I was there too, smiling, younger, holding a sparkler, wearing that same bracelet. I shut it and put it back in the drawer, and I didn't touch it for days. But every night, I went back. Same house. Same people. Like I was visiting, or being pulled back. I started avoiding sleep. Staying up late, drinking coffee, watching terrible late-night TV. Anything to stay awake. But when I finally crashed, there they were. Welcoming. Familiar. Home. That's what it felt like. Home. And that made me feel guilty. I have a real family. A real sister who doesn't deserve to be replaced in my head. A real dad who, okay, maybe not perfect, but he's mine. So I tried to stop thinking about it. Then came the night they asked me to stay. My dream sister held my hand and said, "You don't have to go back, not if you don't want to." It was so tempting. I woke up crying, and I didn't know why. I just missed them. And the weirdest part? Things in the real world started slipping. I called my real sister by the wrong name. Forgot my dad's birthday. My mom said I seemed distant, not myself. Maybe because I wasn't. I don't know when it fully switched. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe I'm still flipping between them. but I keep the bracelet on now. Every day. Just in case she was right. So I don't forget. The show you weren't in. I wasn't searching for anything weird. Just late night scrolling. Letting the algorithm decide what I should watch next. You know the drill. Cat videos, cooking fails, those oddly satisfying paint mixing clips. Then a thumbnail caught my eye. A park. One I knew. Not just vaguely familiar. I knew that bench, that tree with the weird split trunk. The old slide that always leaned a little to the left. It was the park near my middle school. I clicked. The video title was in lowercase. Us in Summer, 2009. The video started with shaky handheld footage, the kind you get from an old camcorder. Kids running. Someone off-screen laughing. And then I showed up. Or someone who looked exactly like me. Same lopsided smile. Same chipped front tooth I didn't get fixed until high school. Same mole near the left eyebrow. It was like watching a version of myself I had no memory of. A perfect stranger who shared my face. I sat frozen. The kid, me I guess, was talking to someone behind the camera, joking, making stupid poses. Then he looked straight at the lens and said, "Don't forget me, okay?" I checked the upload date. 5 years ago, which didn't line up. In 2009, I was living in another city entirely. That park was across the state. I'd never been there during that summer, and certainly hadn't been filmed. I scrolled down to the comments. God, I miss this. He was the best part of the group. R.I.P., man. You'll never be forgotten. Anyone know what happened to the guy in the red shirt? My stomach turned. I clicked on the uploader's profile. They hadn't posted in years. When I messaged them, I got a quick auto reply. This account belongs to a deceased user. We cannot offer further information. Okay, maybe it was a deepfake? But who would go through that much trouble for a blurry home video? And why use my face? And if it was a fake, why did I remember that slide? That tree? 2 days later, I got a text. No number, just unknown. It said, script for next shoot, final episode. Character, you. Location, park. Wardrobe, red shirt. Call time, 3:14 p.m. I stared at it for a long time. That was the exact time I'd started watching the video. The exact outfit I'd worn that day, randomly, without thinking. I didn't reply, but my phone pinged again that night. A photo. Me. Sitting on the park bench. Today. Smiling. Only I hadn't gone outside. And that bench? It was gone years ago. They removed it when they redid the park. But there it was in the photo. Still chipped, still slanted. Still waiting.